Hello and welcome to another incubation Q&A. Today we are talking with Fabian Akker from Ronimo and we're talking about team composition. And for today's Q&A we have got JP van Seventer who's going to do the Q part of the Q&A. So have a lot of fun.
So I just want to start with a little photograph here of the team, I think pretty much around the time that they started. This is somewhere between your leaving school and starting Ronimo, I think, right?
Yeah, this is 2007.
He remembers. And that's also, 2007 is when you registered your company as well?
Yeah. Well, we started in September after we graduated, and company was, the starting date was set on March 1, but that was Chamber of Commerce thing. But officially we started on, actually working together in an office space, it was in September 2007, yeah.
All right, and how did you guys meet?
We met each other at the university or the art academy, and in the second year I was always planning on having my own company, and basically we had this kind of friends group within at the academy, and in our third year when we wanted to do a project, you could do a project together. You can decide with who you want to do the project. We decided to pick the group that we wanted, the friends group, and try to see if we can do create a game together and see if that worked. If we would work as a company, basically, and that became the Blob, and the project that's a project that we worked on for the City of Utrecht, and basically we put it on the internet for free. And a bunch of publishers found out about it, and in the end THQ bought the IP from us. So it was quite a very exciting time, and it was also kind of the defining moment for us to see that we were able to function as a company, and that gave us a bit of a head start.
And then you guys started with your 7-person team out of school, of which 5 had worked on the Blob, and you guys were using your money to get started. But you were kind of also, well, the first incubee at the Dutch Game Garden, and also kind of a new company out of the new generation.
Yeah, so basically there were 2 guys not from the Blob team that were in the company, but still part of that friend group. So when we started the company, we didn't have any money, and we didn't invest any money at the start. So basically, what we're doing was partially doing work for hire jobs, and we did kind of everything. We did websites, animation stuff, graphical art, logos, anything not games, basically. And only the other team was working on the game.
I'm just going to move to the next slide, which I hope you can see from where you're sitting, sort of. So we break it down 4 major areas, right? Programming, tech, scripting, arts, music, storytelling, 3D, 2D arts, game design, and business development. And I remember as a student you were inclined towards game design, I think. Yeah. The first year that you guys started, what was your role in the team? Where, in what space were you mostly working?
In the first year, mostly I was working on the business side. I was going to different events, trying to get my network up and meet as many people as I could, and just get projects and jobs going, and get money coming into the company.
So you would spend most of your time during the week on that?
Definitely the first year was basically only that, and I did a little bit of game design on the side there, so a bit of level design. Basically we're working on making a prototype for the PC prototype it was, and we were trying to, the first problem was we needed dev kits. Nowadays, I don't know, I'm not sure how difficult it is nowadays, but
depends on the season of the platform holder.
And which platform you want. But that was kind of the biggest problem that we had at that point, because if you didn't have any experience, we didn't have, it was basically impossible to get dev kits. And that gave us the first problem, because then we weren't able to build a prototype on the platform that we wanted to release on. That time PC gaming was still very, it was basically impossible to sell your games on PC. because she didn't have. So we were focused on the Wii. And the biggest problem was finding, so we had a very good connection with THQ, of course, so that's the first kind of party we talked with. And they were like, yeah, we like your game and it has a lot of potential and we really want to sign, but you don't have any kind of experience and we don't have a prototype running on Wii. So that was the kind of chicken egg problem that we had. In the end, we were very lucky because someone at THQ formerly worked at Nintendo, so he had a lot of connections within Nintendo, and he finally made it able for us to get the dev kits, and then we were able to make a working copy.
But you were spending most of your week trying to get this stuff organized, right?
We already had kind of a prototype running on PC for a game we wanted to make. So at that point, we already kind of had this kind of prototype already. We just needed to get it running on Wii.
As I remember originally, there were 7 of you. 4 were really strong in art, as I remember. 2 were more in the design profile, and 1 hardcore programmer.
Swords and Soldiers was completely built by 1 programmer, basically, yeah.
And you guys producing design and art decisions and stuff like that. The first year when you were running around, it sounds like you made a bit of a sacrifice on the design part. Was that why you and why not somebody else?
I don't know. I think it's probably because I'm the most business-wise guy in the company. And it just made the most sense because I wasn't able to do projects outside. Well, I couldn't do any logo work or graphical work, and that was kind of the work that was very easy to come by. And we had a lot of artists, so it was very easy to assign me to get the projects in and then assign the artists to different kinds of graphical work.
And how would you say your role is today?
At the moment, I'm an office manager. So we're probably going to hire someone in a couple of weeks.
So you're really in this bottom part of internal organization.
So we're working on a new game. We've already been working for it for a year now, a year and a half. I've done a lot of game design on it, so I did a lot of prototyping last year. But also, I think half of my time was spending time on contacting publishers, meeting them, making pitches, writing documentation. Doing the presentations, and figuring out the finance stuff, etc.
Did you do any long-term, like full-time design periods in between in this?
So when Awesomenauts came out, there was, when was that, 7 years ago? That was super successful on PC. A lot of money came in, so basically weren't talking to publishers anymore. I remember that we had conversation. We went to GDC. And it was like every meeting with publishers was like, yeah, we don't want to work with you guys, but we're making a very cool game. And then the conversation was over in 5 minutes. Oh, I see. And I think, and then for years we didn't have any contact with publishers. And it was only till last year that we started again talking with publishers. And after that period, or between the period, I did a lot of design work. So I basically spent all my time on design.
Yeah, have you minded making that sacrifice for the end result?
Not really. Well, at some point, it just gets too much work. So, at the beginning, we had this idea of everybody has this role as a producer or as a programmer, as a creative role, and they had this business role. So, the 7 guys each had their own business role. So we divided in finance, business development, production. Marketing, and we didn't need an office manager at that point. Yeah, and then a technical, someone who took. Oh, we did an office manager basically, and someone who took care of the computers basically.
And how did that work out for 7 founders?
Well, a couple of them very well because. Yeah. Managing computers, well, nowadays it's a bit more work, but
it's kind of like ICT.
Yeah, if you compare it to finance, like finance is with 10 guys, it's basically 1 day a week, maybe 1.5 day a week finance work, and now we're 16 now, and now it's at least 2 days a week, maybe more. I'm spending now complete weeks only on finance stuff. So yeah, I think at some point you definitely need to hire an office manager or someone that takes care of your finances. because it's just so much administrative work.
You guys at some point hired a sort of producer type, right? To kind of did that help?
The difficult thing with production is what you basically want to do is hire someone from outside the company, but you want to have someone that understands game development.
So coming out of one of the disciplines is actually a good thing.
And it takes years for someone to create knowledge of what it means for an artist to make a trailer, or what it's how much time it takes to go through certification, or all those kinds of things that you kind of need to have an estimate about how long it's going to take and to make production work.
And nowadays, I mean, you have 7 founders. How do you make decisions with the 7 of you?
What we do is we have strike teams. For a long period, we just decided everything with the 7 founders. Basically, with the 7 founders were separate from the employees, and they made all the big decisions. Now we have strike teams, so we make strike teams for big important parts of the game and for production. And we have, and those strike teams are small groups of people that are also working on that specific part, or have a lot of understanding of the thing you're working on, and they make the final decisions, basically.
10 years ago, it sounded really cool to say on birthday parties that you own the games company. Is it still cool to own a games company?
Yeah, it's still cool to own a company, yeah.
And you're proud of your new IP, so it's going to be exciting to work on something new. Now, have you had chance to affect the game creatively?
Yeah, we do brainstorms. Basically, we have open brainstorms, so on any topic, everyone is able to step in and come up with ideas. And we ask everyone in the company to do presentations on ideas. So basically, last week we have a presentation on progression systems, for instance. And we just ask everyone to come up with presentations about what they think other games are doing well with progression systems and what they like. And then the strike team gathers all that information and then picks something out of it. Let's
see. You guys, you told me that you might be growing a little bit. I mean, what's the biggest Ronimo wants to get ever?
Oh my God, this is a big issue over the years. So basically, we want to stay 7 people. Now we're 16 and we're growing to 25 now. This is just horrible, because you basically want to keep small. You're creative. You're a creative person. So, okay. So this is a long story. So, if you want to make games, you want to make more games than one. Basically, everyone wants to make more games than one game, but making more games is more risk. Well, if you can do them alongside, it's better. But if you have like every half year a project, I would never sign for that, because from a financial side, because you have every half year, you have this risk of if it's going to make money or not, or you have to find financiers for that. So it's not going to work. Basically, you're going to be dealing with so much adrenaline that it's not going to work. So you want to do bigger projects. They're safer. You get a lot more money. There's a lot more money overhead, so you're making a lot more money. Basically, you're making more money. It's less risk if you find the financiers, of course. You don't have to go through the whole hassle of finding a publisher every time. And we have, I think, a turnaround about 2 years normally. Awesomenauts was a big success, and we were able to spend everything that we made on it back again on the company. But yeah, so basically we don't want to grow too big, but it makes just a lot of sense to hire people. For instance, with Awesomenauts, it was doing very well, and it was easily to say, okay, if we hire this artist, he can do this many skins per month. These skins make, I don't know, 5,000 euros per skin. Okay, we can hire, if you can do 1 skin per month, which you could easily do, we're gonna make money out of it. And that's such an easy answer to everything. Like, okay, if you can do a port switch, that's, I don't know, 100 grand. Okay, let's do that. Let's hire someone for 50,000 euros a year. Yeah.
Is there one thing or 2 things that you say, oh, Now I know some of these guys are just right in the beginning of having a company, and some are already working a little bit with having a product almost ready. Is there anything you want to share with them?
Oh yeah, I can share so much, but
Don't do it.
it's easier to just, I guess, to just ask about things because I can just go all over the place.
So my name is Arje Loop. I'm the incubation manager. One thing that you said that struck me was in my second year at study, I was planning to build a company or have a company. Yeah. That's quite early for most people, I think. Why were you keen on doing that?
I really liked the kind of vibe that was in the class and with the guys, and
because there weren't specific business classes that you were following, right?
No, not at all.
So it just kind of naturally gravitated towards it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
One last question for me is, how do you see yourself, your position in the company changing in the next couple of years? If you're going to grow, does that mean your position is going to change again?
I hope I can do more creative work, because that's what I'm good at and that's what I like to do. I'm also good at business, but I just don't like it that much.
Clear answer. Thank you.
Hi, Fabian. I'm Tom. Studio name still unknown. With 7 founders and 7 captains on the ship, were there any breaking points within the team during the course of these years?
Oh, many. Yeah, we had guys saying they were quitting, and next day they were staying. We had counseling from outside, like almost like relationship counseling. Yeah, you just go through all the same loops that you go that you find in a romantic relation, basically, after 12 years. Yeah.
So what were the common causes for these breaking points? Game design or business?
Business. So many of the situations, they come down to situations where there's no money left anymore in the company. We had a situation where we signed with a publisher. They owed us 80,000 euros at that point, and we only had money for 1 month left. We were already in the red. We were minus 40,000 euros. Basically, next month we would go bankrupt. So we had 1 month to port the game from Xbox 360 to PC and bring Awesomenauts to PC, and then it went from minus 40 to, I don't know, a lot in 1 month. And we had a big party, but in the months before that was the kind of moment where people were saying that they're going to leave. Yeah. Once you have a family, once you have a house, kids, then these kind of things. This kind of game cycle loop where you have all your money at the beginning, and at the end everything's gone, and you have to find a publisher, and there's lots of stress on signing with a publisher because these contracts are huge, of course, but still it takes so much time to finally get the signature and get money. You're always at the end of your money at the start of the next project, so that creates a lot of stress on the founders. And also the kind of small things that slowly build up, small infractions that you have with each other, they slowly build up. So it's very important to keep talking. What kind of the biggest problems that we had was, okay, one of the few things you also need to worry about is doing multiple projects at the same time. That's very, very bad for your for the relationship that you have with each other. So at one point we did Awesomenauts and Swords and Soldiers 2 at the same time. But we had like a lot of people that were very upset being not able to work on a new project and had to work still on the old game. That was very devastating for a lot of people, and it really broke the team apart. So after that we really decided to not do that anymore.
But weren't you saying just earlier you want to grow the company to do more projects?
Yeah, so that's the kind of struggle. That's the kind of struggle that you constantly have, and that's kind of the thing that I learned is you need to find a balance between doing projects fast, but also do bigger projects because you don't have to go through the whole publishing hassle every time.
Yeah, some kind of bi-model system,
Yeah.
one big one and a few smaller ones.
But then you have a problem with your team. So how are you gonna keep 5 animators working on a game for half a year? Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Thomas from Gobbledygook Games. Of course, the gaming landscape has changed immensely in the last 12 years. I'm mostly curious about the promotion of the games at the time and the marketing around it. Of course, that's also changed significantly. How was it then at the beginning versus now, and would you have done anything different?
Oh, it was so much easier. Nowadays it's impossible. I'm really glad that we got found a publisher. But I don't know if I would actually spend my own money on making a game at this point, because it's too much risk. Basically, a publisher can sign between 5 and 10 games a year or more. You have a lot less risk than if you have to sign have to do one game. With a good example was with Sword of Souls 2. So basically, we had a very good game. We got good scores, and it's selling basically nothing, like nothing. And we came out on PS4, Switch. What else we got? PC. A whole bunch of platforms. So basically, you were thinking beforehand. We were thinking, oh, this is an easy game to make. We know what the game's going to look like. We can do a lot better graphics now. It's going to look way better. We can do networking, so we can do multiplayer at the start. We can do porting, so we can do all the platforms. So it's a very good business case, very good business case, and still you're losing money on it, lots of money. It's just gambling. It's just. Maybe if you're making a game that has a 9 or higher on Metacritic, then you have a chance. Otherwise, it's just roll of the dice, basically. That's how I see it. Or if you have a very good publisher. That's the other way you can do it. But it's and especially with marketing. For instance, with Sword Soldiers, we hired an outsourced the marketing, and they did a really good job, and they got all the good contacts, but still. The result is still very bad. So and also we've also worked with publishers. Oh my God, yeah, I have so many stories. We worked with publishers. They spent maybe $1,000 or more, €100,000 on marketing, and they just spend it on websites and other crap, and it's just gone to waste. And so you basically can't. You don't know anything basically with marketing, and you can do. But the best thing you can do is do very good community management. That's something you can do very well. You can do the contacts with press. You can do yourselves, because press if you can reach certain press now that are very interested in very niche, specific kind of games. So you can find out which press you need to contact. And that's also doable, and you can go to game expos, get on what's it called, Indie Arena, or was it Indie Mega Booth? That's kind of, well, it's not super easy, but it's kind of easy if you have a good game or a good prototype, and to get the level exposure to the press. But get the ball rolling, that's super difficult. We were very lucky with Awesomenauts that I was a big fan of Yogscast, so I just sent an email like, I'm your biggest fan, and maybe you want to play this game, and then they really liked it. But it was just luck. Basically, it was just all luck.
Do you have any idea what was there a big difference between the first Swords and Soldiers and the second one when it came to expectations? And like, what do you think you did differently that somehow made the second one fail versus the first one?
Things that we can probably. One of the biggest problems was that the game was already old. So porting a game after quite some time is probably not a good idea to do. The other reason that it probably failed was because we were short before Red Dead Redemption 2 last year released. We were like, okay, so it's always difficult to figure out when to release your game. We were like, okay, Red Dead Redemption is releasing, but it's only console. Nobody's releasing on PC. And it was kind of a short window on PC that nobody was releasing. We're like, okay, we're going to pick that. We're going to just try it out and see what happens. And on PC, we did okay-ish. But on PS4, because we did simultaneous release, it just didn't make any money because everybody was spending money on Red Dead Redemption, of course. So, yeah, you have to, and that's the kind of thing with marketing is you don't really know before you try it. You just have to try it and see what it does. So you can't really do A/B testing or try different things out. You just don't know what's going to work and whatnot.
So you basically have to hope that the RNG is forever in your favor.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. Hey, thanks very much.
That's the end of this Q&A. I would like to thank JP for handling this part of the table. Thank you, Fabian. We started out talking about the Game Studio Canvas and your role, and it spiraled into into live lessons, which are always good. So thanks for your honesty and openness, and yeah, thanks for this talk.